Hello and welcome to the Sewing Studio. With spring just around the corner, hopefully, Valentine's Day will soon be upon us. So I decided to make this lovely little Valentine's cushion. I've just done a really simple envelope back, and this is made using a pack of mini charms and some background fabric. But you will actually need one extra piece of either pink or red for one of the hearts. So I've chosen some mini charms here that are reds and creams, and they've got pinks in as well. So what you have to do is you open your pack of mini charms, which I always think is the best bit. So I'm going to use this one for today. This one's called Cranberries and Cream. Now, because when you make the cushion, you need 43 pieces, because you can see here that I've got 7 hearts, and then each of these squares are 4 pieces. So the first thing I did was I took a 4.5 inch square, which was the background fabric, this cream here, and I had some spare red fabric and I created a heart. So I've already got that block. So now I need another 6 hearts. So the first thing I'm going to do is open this pack. I love this bit, it's my favourite bit. And I'm going to take out 6 pieces that are going to be suitable for the other hearts, because we need 7 in total. So there we are. So they are going to be my hearts. So I'm going to make the backgrounds. So on a piece of Bondaweb, and I've made a template here, and I've used the background of the mini charm pack to measure the size of the heart. So this is my template. So I'm just going to trace my piece of Bondaweb. So I'm tracing on the smooth side of my Bondaweb, and I'm tracing that heart. And then I'm going to cut that out, not on the line. You don't have to do bonded applique if you wanted to. You could do needle turn applique. The choice is yours, but I like bonded. So I'm cutting it out very roughly, and then I'm going to iron that onto one of these squares. So I'm going to go over to the iron now, and I'm going to very carefully iron that onto the back of that square. So I'm just pressing my rough cut heart onto the back of my red square. And then I'm going to cut that out. Now I'm cutting it on the line. Let's do that over here so you can see. So I've rough cut it, and now I'm cutting it on the line. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my 4.5 inch background fabrics, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find the centre point. So I'm just folding it into 4 and pinching it with my fingers there. So I've got roughly my centre point. And then I'm going to take the back off my Bondaweb. You can use steamer seam if you want to, does the same job, and then roughly lining it up. Let's try it on this, we've got a new camera, so I'm just trying it out. So you can see I'm lining it up, so it's roughly in the centre. And I'm just going to pop that under the iron now to make sure that's stuck on there. And I would do that until I'd got all of my 7 hearts complete. Then I would go to the sewing machine and I would just stitch around the edge, either on a blanket stitch, or you could do free motion if you want to. So when you've done that with all 7, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to put your squares into blocks of 4. So just sort your pile so it's sort of quite even looking. So here I've got some sort of beigey colours as well. So I'm going to make a couple of 4 patches like we've got here on this one. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm going to create those. So I'm going to have that one there, I think, and that one there. So you can see I'm trying to sort of mix the colours up. So I've got some creams and some reds. So I'm going to do that a couple of times. Then I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to join those together into blocks of 4. So I'm just going to join my little pieces together to make 4 patches. I've got a 1/4 inch foot with a guide, and I'm using a neutral thread on the top and in my bobbin. I've stopped with my needle down because I'm going to chain piece a few of these. So I'm just going to snip these pieces as a flagged piece or chained piece, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm going to press them. And if you remember when you're doing this to press your fabric to the darker side. So I'm going to press all of mine going towards the fabric that's red. Because when you come to put them together, you'll have your seams going the opposite way. And now I'm going back over to the sewing machine to join those up. And so by pressing the seams towards the red fabric, you can see, and hopefully you can see on this camera, that you've got one seam going one way, one going the other way. So I'm just going to butt those seams together, and that locks the seam, and hopefully that will give us a nice join. And now I'm going to give those a press. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to lay out our squares. So we've got a 4 patch, and then we've got one of our 4.5 inch squares with a heart, and then we've got another 4 patch and a heart, and another 4 patch. So that is our top row, as you can see on this one, with 2 hearts. And now our next row, we're going to need 3 hearts. So let me just lay it out as if we were doing our middle row. So our middle row would then start with a heart, it would have a 4 patch, a heart, a 4 patch and a heart. And then our bottom row is the same as our top row. And you just join all of those together. As I say, I did an envelope back on mine, but what I also did was I put a bit of wadding behind this front piece when all my pieces were joined together. And I just did a little bit of shadow quilting, hand quilting, using a red thread. So you can use 2 strands of DMC, you could use a perlé or a cotton brody, any of those would work. You don't have to do a red shadow, you could do a pink shadow quilting, you could do cream, the choice is yours. So as always, make it your own. The other thing I'm just going to say to you is you could also make a table runner. So imagine making this a little bit longer and having that on the centre of your Valentine's table. How romantic would that be? So as always, have fun, and I look forward to seeing you next time here in the sewing studio.